Hi everyone, my name's Brady, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a Boston cream poke cake. It's a recipe I found on Pinterest and I've made it several times and everyone loves it. So picture this, you go into a quaint coffee shop like Starbucks and there's an ice lemon pound cake. You go to a birthday party, there's a funfetti sprinkle cake. And then you go to a fancy restaurant later on that evening and there is a triple chocolate layer chocolate ganache fancy cake. Okay, my point is cake is everywhere and it's in a ton of different varieties and everybody truly enjoys it. There's not one person I've met who doesn't at least like cake. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to make a cake that is so easy yet so delicious that everyone will want to know your secret. So first things first, what I like to do is I like to gather all my ingredients, which will be a Betty Crocker yellow super moist cake. It's my favorite. And then I like a Jello instant vanilla pudding and a Betty Crocker rich and creamy chocolate frosting. So first things first, you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take a large bowl, kind of like this, and you're going to sprinkle your cake mix, 3 large eggs, a half a cup of vegetable oil, and 1 cup of water. Then what you're going to do is you're going to mix that all together until it's well incorporated. Finally, what you're going to do is you're going to take a large 13 by 9 pan and you're going to grease it and pour the incorporated cake mix into the pan and put it in your preheated oven. You're going to let that bake for approximately 28 minutes. You know, you stick a fork in the middle. When nothing comes out, then that means it's finished. So you're going to pull that cake out and you're going to let it cool. What I like to do while my cake is cooling is prepare the vanilla pudding. Like I said earlier, I like to use the Jello brand. So what you're going to do is you're going to take another large bowl like this and you're going to pour the Jello mix right into the bowl. Okay, so then what you're going to do is pour 2 cups of ice cold milk and you're going to beat that and you're going to incorporate it. And it's going to be slightly runny, so just stick it in the fridge for at least 10 minutes and let it set. While you're letting it set, your cake should be pretty cool now. So at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to take something with a large end. I mean, you could take a straw, you could take a knife and cut holes in your cake. What I personally like to do and what I've found easiest to use is a knife sharpener. I know, crazy. But what you're going to do is you're going to take the tip of the knife sharpener and you're going to stick it right in the cake. And that's going to make the hole, which is for the poke cake. That's why it's called a poke cake. So what that's going to do is you're going to have about 6 to 7 rows of holes in your cake. And that's what's going to make the cake so moist. And eventually your cake is going to look like that. And that's what the holes are going to be. So finally, after you have the holes poked in your cake, you're going to take your pudding that will be completely set by this point. You're going to take it out of the fridge, and what I like to do is I like to get a Ziploc bag and put some of the pudding in here. That's the way I know for a fact that the pudding is going to end up in the holes in my cake. So what you'll do, like I said, is put pudding in the Ziploc bag, and then you're going to cut a small tip. Okay, and that will allow the pudding to squeeze through the bag. So then you're just going to take the holes and you're going to fill the cake. And it's going to look like that. You probably can't see it, but they're going to be completely filled with the holes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the pudding that you have left over that you didn't put in the Ziploc and you're just going to pour it all on the cake. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take a spatula, I like to use a wider one, and you're just going to drag the pudding all along the cake. And it'll just be really, it doesn't have to be perfect, you just want to make sure that the whole layer of the cake is coated in at least some pudding. That's the way that the cake is really super moist and it's going to taste delicious and give it that creamy Boston cream texture. So then your cake is going to look like this. It's going to be completely covered with the pudding. So finally, what you're going to do after that is you're going to take some frosting. What I do is I empty the frosting out of this and I pour it into a bowl. And then right before I use it, I heat it in the microwave for about 15 to 20 seconds. So what you're going to do with the frosting is just pour it over in a zigzag pattern. You want to make sure that your frosting isn't too hot, because if it's too hot, it'll just completely melt to the bottom of the cake, and you don't want that happening. So my cake is completely covered, and what I'm going to do is, with that spatula that I had, I'm just going to retake that spatula, and I'm going to make sure that there's no pudding poking out from my cake. As you can see, I'm getting ready to show you. You really don't have that problem though, because it usually does incorporate quite well over to the top of the cake. So finally, your cake is going to end up looking just like a big chocolate frosting, which is exactly what you want, because you don't want any pudding to be showing. So when you cut into the cake, what you're going to see is you're going to have a piece of cake with a hole in it that has pudding that's made it really, really moist. So then on top of that cake, you're going to have some pudding and then the chocolate frosting, and that's what makes it the Boston cream. So over the last few minutes, I've tried to show you exactly how to make a Boston cream poke cake, and I strongly urge you guys to take this to a party, or to, even for your family, make it one night, because I guarantee that they will not realize how good such an easy, simple cake can be. All right, thank you guys.